Welcome back to another fun-filled show. I'm your host. He is Blanchard, aka Free Blanche, aka Blanstradamus, aka Blanchy Kruger. Today's title is Transitioning into a Godless Society. Simone Biles versus Riley Gaines. Excuse me, Simone Biles, Freudian slip. Simone Biles versus Riley Gaines. Anyway, Riley Gaines tweeted something and Simone Biles responded to it. And I just want to say that Riley Gaines is hated by the left, by the communists, by the globalists because of what she represents. She actually lost to a man. This is very well known. I just want to see if I can pull the picture up. But this is who she lost to in the NCAA swim meet. And she was upset about it. She's trained her whole life to get to this moment, and she ends up losing to a guy. Everybody celebrated the guy winning and beating the girl, but think about this in society, right? Indulge me for a second. Think about any other competition where it was a man versus a woman in just normal society, not sports, and tell me if people would accept it. If you were at something and it said, whoever can, okay, say you were at a fair and there was an event where the weight of something had to be lifted and it started at 100 pounds. Now, this game would mostly be men participating. Everybody would call that game sexist because they would say that women can't lift that weight. The average woman can't lift that weight. If it was a game at a carnival or fair or whatever, and if you can lift this 100 pounds plus, you get things like an iPhone, iPad, I don't know, gift certificates, shopping sprees. And if you can list this amount, you get a car. So say the game had all these elaborate gifts, but the starting lifting point was at 100 pounds. They would call that game sexist. They would call that game wrong. They would call misogynistic. Like that game would be demonized because the average woman couldn't participate in the game. That's normal society. But when we go to sports, now all of a sudden that doesn't apply anymore. And it's because the purpose behind transgenders in sports is to erode and destroy Western culture and society. You get rid of everything that's normal. So the biggest weapon that Satan has is for the average person to say that a man is a woman. Once that is normal, once that's in textbooks, once that's said on TV freely, like once it's accepted as the norm, then we know that the Antichrist will be here. We know the Antichrist will be here if a person says that a man is a woman. The Bible says that Satan is the father of lies. That means when we tell a lie, Satan is our father, not God. So imagine the entire planet telling a lie. A man is a woman. This is so subtle and it seems so innocent, but it's very nuanced. It is a way to destroy Western culture and society. And so let's go to the tweet. Let's go to the tweet. Now, Riley Gaines' tweet was comments off, to be expected when your star player is a boy. Now, this Minnesota high school softball team won a state championship, and the pitcher is a boy. And so they turn their comments off. You often see this on social media when someone knows they're wrong, they cut the comments off. It's just, they all do it. So Simone Biles says in response to Riley Gaines, "You're truly sick. All of this complaining because you lost a race, straight up sore loser. You should be uplifting the trans community and perhaps finding a way to make sports inclusive or creating a new avenue where trans feel safe in sports, maybe a transgender category in all sports. But instead, you bully them. One thing's for sure is no one in sports is safe with you around." Now, they use children's sports They use high school sports because they're children, because they want to push this agenda so it's easier to hide behind children. Because they're going to say it's just a child wanting to be in sports. How dare you go against the children? Again, this is what the left does. This is what the communists do. They virtue signal. They put you, they try to present a moral issue that's not really based on morality at all. So they say, how can you deny the child the right to participate in female sports? Knowing good and well, if sports were co-ed, meaning if women's basketball, let's say women's high school basketball and men's basketball were competing against each other, and the winners would eventually go on to state. Now, my question is, who would sign off on an all-male boys basketball team competing against a all-women's basketball team? I don't mean just for one time. I mean the entire sports world in high school is men teams competing against female teams. Nobody would sign off on that because the men would dominate the women. Nobody would sign off on that. But you would sign off on a man competing inside of women's sports. This is how you know it's just wrong. And they know it's wrong. And they know it's wrong. But anyway, that was Simone. That was Simone Biles' tweet. Another tweet she said was, bully someone your own size, which would ironically be a male. There was another tweet that I thought was excellent that a person put up. This person on Twitter is named Virgil, and he says, number one, body shames a fellow female athlete. 2, implicitly acknowledges that men and women are different, with males generally being bigger than females. And 3, disregards the fact that Riley is going after men in women's sports. Gold medal in asinine tweeting. And this pretty much sums up the gross contradiction in what Simone Biles tweeted. We can go to Simone Biles in the past where she said, Simone Biles is done with toxic culture of trolling about her body. The Olympian says she tries to let most of it slide, but would be lying if she pretended to not care about criticism of her body. This is Simone Biles in February of 2020, talking about being body shamed. She was all against it. We go again in November 2024. Bullied for manly looks in childhood, Simone Biles continues to struggle with judgment even at 27. Again, this is Simone Biles not wanting to be seen as a man, looking like a man, and against body shaming. This is Simone Biles. So she literally went against things that she's been traumatized by. Even Riley Gaines tweeted, and she said, all of the horrific essaying abuse that Simone Biles witnessed and spoke out against caused by one man, yet believes women should be forced to strip naked in front of men to validate the man's feelings. You know how many gold medals you'd have if your inclusive dream came true? 0. What's funny is that Simone Biles has never competed against a man, and she would never stand for having her gold medals lost to a guy. If a male gymnast showed up to compete against her, she would be against it. So this lets you know that she doesn't really believe what she's saying. She's saying it because she is a tool of propaganda. She's working for globalists, she's working for communists, and she's working for Marxists, working for Satan. So she's being told to say these things. These aren't her true feelings. She's being told to say these things. And this is why Riley Gaines is hated, because she represents America. She's heterosexual, white husband, probably from the country, the South. In the picture with her husband, they got on cowboy boots and denim with a horse. This literally is a postcard for what America is. And this is what has been demonized. Western culture has been demonized because they're demonizing whiteness. And whiteness is just a white person, quote unquote, being white. That's all. There's just there's no, it's just if you're white, you're bad or you're wrong. That's what the propaganda and programming is. So she's demonized for being, same with Caitlin Clark, heterosexual white female from middle America. She's demonized. It's just, so Riley Gaines is actually advocating for women in women's sports. She's actually advocating for women, and she's hated for it because of what she represents. She represents white, Christian, conservative America, and that's what's being demonized. I'm trying to find a clip one day where they said the number one threat to America was the evangelical Christian white male. So they've already attached the Bible and Christianity to whiteness. If you ask them to explain whiteness, you're going to be sitting there all day, because whiteness is just simply everything that's bad with the world. That's all. And so this is why Riley Gaines is hated. This is why she's a target.
Of human existence. If you can get people to argue about that and about women's sports, this is about the erasure of culture. If you can confuse people and get them to argue about what a man and what a woman is, which is the most basic reality of human existence, if you can get people to argue about that and debate over that and question that, what can't you get them to question? Everybody thinks this is just about poor little Stevie who wants to be Susie, who wants to run in with the girls because he wants to wear nail polish and, you know, and like, let's ask ourselves, why do they tell grown men not to take testosterone, but they'll gladly prescribe testosterone to a 14-year-old girl that feels confused about her gender? It's not just about these kids being in your sports or being in bathrooms. This is about getting you to accept anything as true. And it should be obvious to anybody with any common sense to what's going on. This isn't about being tolerant. This is about protecting civilization for the next 100 years.
And I mean, and it's just, and that's true. That's basically what it is. It is about protecting civilization, specifically Western culture, because Western culture is what has kept the world the most civilized. The world has been the most civilized under Western culture and society. Western culture and society is what is pushing socialism around the world. It's the Western countries that have the open borders. It's the Western countries that give the aid to other countries. It's the Western countries that do all the humanitarian acts. It's the Western cultures and society. And those are largely white, Christian, mainly, mostly, but not all, but conservative societies. Becoming more liberal, obviously. And I would venture to say a lot of the countries in Europe are mostly liberal. We've seen America wasn't as liberal as we thought in this last election. But the whole purpose of all of this, again, is to push Satan's agenda. If Satan can get the world to say that a man is a woman, then everything is over. All is lost. Everything is hinging upon people knowingly, willingly telling a lie. And that's what this is about. And saying that a man is a woman is just a bold-faced lie, just is. And so they're trying to ease this in, not ease it in, they're trying to push this in through sports, mainly with children, so they can hide behind the children. Children just want to play sports. They just want to be seen. They just want to be heard. Joe Biden said his number one goal was to protect trans children. We know that Kamala Harris's campaign was largely based on abortion and trans rights and trans children. Like, this is what it is. And so again, the goal is to destroy Western society and Western culture so that they could become a globalist / communist society. That's what all this boils down to. This boils down to you not having any sovereignty over your person. I know it's hard to connect these dots because it's so far down the road, but it's not really. The goal of all of this is to erode the society that you see. People don't have an idea. People can't even imagine what a third world country is to live like. They only go and visit these countries and stay at resorts. What I'm telling you is that what these people are mass migrating out of is what they want America to be. There is only mass migration into Western countries, i.e. white Christian nations. There's no mass migration into places that are ran by people of color or third world countries. People are only mass migrating to be around Christian white people, largely Christian white people. So again, Simone Biles made this comment, this tweet, nothing to do with her caring about transgender athletes or children, none of that. None of that. She was put up to this by the globalists and the communists. I think we all should be praying for Riley Gaines because she's actually putting up the good fight. Thank you all for tuning in and see you all soon. Thank you.